information that for the people, by the people, we are working on bringing Talib Bensouda to Atlanta during the July 4th, in an interactive, just like we normally would reach out to politicians. Today we have Dr. Cisse, of course, virtually. And the discussion last year was like, it wouldn't be a bad idea to kind of reach out to people and then bring them to whether it's the ALD in Washington and to the July 4th. And, different names were put out there. Khalifa was one of them, especially after he got his book, The Sovereignty, something like that. I think I have a copy of the book. And we thought that we could reach out to Khalifa and he can come and launch his book during the July 4th. Now, but we finally decided that it was going to be Talib, in an upcoming politician and a young man. And we thought bringing him to Atlanta, to the diaspora, to have a conversation, it wouldn't be a bad idea. And we all get excited about it. And I'm like, wow, some of them are Gambia. You tell me the same thing. You said if you go, you talk to him as well. And the invitation was extended. And and the mayor accepted that, yeah, it wouldn't be a bad idea. Now, you'll have intentions. And for whatever reason, it gets misconstrued. And for the past 2 weeks, it was done in such a way that we thought it was counterproductive to do it this time around, because it defeats the whole purpose. It's been misconstrued, and there was a lot of negativity, which is not really true. So we thought the best thing to do is to shelve it. And I had a conversation with the mayor, because there were a lot of things, people going to him. And I want to explain what is behind sometimes this reaching out and trying to bring people to the July 4th, because this was not the first time. Years ago, I used to be the chairperson of Ajera, and we were the ones organizing the July 4th. And during that time, we always would have a program, we call it symposium, where we would meet, because we didn't want just to have it like a party chigudigi, and then play soccer. That's what it was known for. So we thought it's good to add the dimension to it, where we can sit and we'll have a conversation. So it started out very slow. Few people would come. Nyom Koto Senifai, Brother Habib Salum, Maila Toure. Usually the usual suspects. So we will always have it on a Friday or Saturday afternoon, but the hall would be about 10, 15, 20 people. It wouldn't really attract a lot of people. Even though the July 4th, you go to the party, it will attract thousands of people. So Gambians were not very responsive to those symposiums at that time. And when we came on, during my as chairperson and other play, I'm like, you know what? We need to put in a lot of effort into this symposium. Unless when you bring Yusundu, you attract a lot of people, you're putting in star power. And we should do the same thing with the July 4th. If you bring in people that people want to hear, guide in a no. Instead of having 12, 15 people, you will have a hall full of people. So we started out with SM Diba. This was at that time. So you can say that it was a long time ago. Mm-hmm. And we were working with her secretary, trying to bring SM Diba to the July 4th. It didn't work out. The following year, we had WA. And boy, can you believe it? All of a sudden, the symposium, the whole idea changed. The hall was full of people because everybody wanted to hear about WA. It was, I'm telling you, unbelievable. Wow, this is the way to go. WA came there, and this was just after the coup d'etat, I think. And this was when he just formed them. Osmbenga and a lot of people from Washington. Because for the July 4th, it tends to attract a lot of young people, but there are also political junkies. Unless you organize something like that, they wouldn't come. Yeah. So, but that year, everybody came to Atlanta. And out of that, of course, they will go to the other programs, the Saturday program and the park. So we said, wow, this is great. The following year, we came up with the idea, mid the Diaspora Summit. We extended invitation to all the politicians. And this was in 2003. The biggest ever. And of course, the rest was history. Out of that mid the Diaspora Summit, that's what led to the formation of NAD. And that very memorandum of understanding, we're looking at 2016. That's how it started. Bulakenna. It was big, and the July 4th was getting bigger. People were coming from Europe. So the motivation was more of, let's bring people with star power to the program, and that will help the July 4th. Again, we decided that when Sadauda wrote his book, to launch the book, we talked to the PA, sent an invitation. I was working with Keba Jallo, helped Nepal for the PA to come and launch the book during the July 4th. There were people from Jammeh, the APRC, that went behind, when they knew that Jawara was coming, they went to his son, Ibrahim Jawara. They said, you better go talk to your dad. These people are going to use them. These are the APRC people. They didn't want the PA to come. So they went and said, then Ibrahim went to the dad and said, you better not go to these people. It's the Pandirimbais of this world. They're going to use you, Kate Lola. You know what I mean? One thing I can tell you, Sadauda Keraba Jawara, that is why I respect that man. He's intelligent, and he knew that his son was being used. He sent me an email. Emailed it. It probably was an email. I mean, Sadauda was way up there, really. And he said, these people came to me, and they're basically telling me all this stuff. I responded, I said, look, we are against Jammeh. We will fight Jammeh and opposition big time. But one thing that I can tell you, we will never use you. I've been in politics for a long time. See you in Atlanta. That was the biggest event ever as far as the July 4th was concerned. That launching, everybody came from nowhere. Why am I saying all this? To give people a perspective. They're bringing Talib Bensouda to Atlanta. In as much as to some people, they read a lot of things into it. The reason was much more than that. It was about the July 4th, after these 2-3 COVIDs. We want to bring it back with a big bang. And we think bringing a young man like that to build the bridge, for him to talk to the to the diaspora, it's not a bad idea. We all get excited about it. They started going to the man, people making a lot of lies. And that is so unfortunate. A lot of lies that is not true. And I spoke to the mayor, I'm like, look, our intention was genuine, but I think it would be a bad idea for you to come. He insisted that he still wanted to come. I'm like, it's a bad idea, because what is happening is, our intention was something positive, something that the diaspora, everybody can get excited about. When people see it as for the people, by the people, we do not want to be part of that. And we all also, and what is unfortunate, there was some other group that supposedly they're organizing a coalition talk, which we have absolutely nothing to do with it. I mean, here's a free country. You can organize whatever you want to organize. But when they started, Purjel Bobulin, and said it has something to do with that, I'm like, you see, we need to be careful here. People can organize whatever they want to organize, but what we are doing as for the people, by the people, bringing, Talib to Atlanta has absolutely nothing to do with coalition talks. Why all of it in there, and for us, this program, if there is one thing, Sariang, we've been here for the past 15, 20 years. There was a reason why Bankamane started this program, is to fight tyranny and bring about democracy. Our aspiration, whatever we do, is to be an independent platform, fair-minded, even though inherently we all have our biases, but we want every idea to be heard. We want to find common ground. That's what we believe in. And this was going to be an extension of that. Today, this year, it would be Talib. Next year, it could be Khalifa. It could be Dr. Cisse. Again, the motivation is for us to be, because Nyun Gambian, we live afar, but we want to be part of it. If we're doing it virtually, we also need to do it jarang. There's nothing wrong with that. But you see, all of us can be political, and I don't have a problem with that. But when you lie, deceit, misinformation, disinformation, that is unhealthy. You don't have to do all that. Bulfen, don't go out there just put yaha. You have a problem with Talib Bensouda? You want to undermine whatever his potential is? I mean, that's fine. And I also have a problem that people that we are lying to, they were part of this group, they organized this thing, giving the idea, the two are linked. That was a lie. That was misinformation. I have issues with that because people were calling me. I'm like, but all of us, we thought about it and we said, we're going to cancel it. Not we're caving in, no, but we're very constructive and positive. And we wanted this program to attract a lot of people into Atlanta. For me, I'm still in the board with Ajera, the organizers of this program, and I'm always looking for ways that we can take this program to the next level. Always. And this was one of them. I mean, and it's unfortunate. So to our viewers, I say, we apologize. We're not caving in. When I don't cave in. When I believe in something, I believe in something. We don't want to destroy. We don't want to get into the United Democratic Party's politics. That's not what we are interested in. Lolu dusun jubluwai. You see, and it's not like we're picking and choosing. No, that's not what we are trying to do. So I hope you understand what the thinking was, and maybe we should have thought it through a little bit. But it is what it is. And next year, Sunehe Yala will work on it, and then we will bring Talib or anybody else for that matter. Or maybe at that time, all the parties would have chosen their candidates, and we would bring them live and direct. I will do whatever I take, and I'll try to convince you, my colleagues, and to do something big that would help whether the July 4th or Washington, ALD. So I thought, again, guys, I just thought it was important for me to come here and explain really whatever people were saying outside, calling the mayor and calling people and making up stuff. It's not true. That is absolutely false.
Yeah, Musa, thank you very much. Thank you for.
If I didn't say this, I would just.
No. I think it's important for us to set the record straight. When this idea all came up, we all had a discussion about it, and there was absolutely no ill intent or whatsoever, and there was nothing. No agenda besides what you have stated here, that we want him to come and have a conversation with the diaspora. Mm-hmm. Now, this whole political bra gets into the way. But Musa, as Gambians, we have to be very, very mindful. We have to be very careful. We have a lot of challenges in that country, and these petty talks, things that we say or who our preference are, it undermines what we are working for. And in a greater aspect, it emboldens and give who is the winner, the man who is out there right now, who is so incompetent to do anything right for that country. Mm-hmm. I follow the discussions, and I had deep reservations, as you said. Mm-hmm. These two planning a coalition that has absolutely nothing to do with what we had planned and what our ongoing conversation and meetings were. Irrespective, I saw someone, I think, and do say, "Oh, you should have sent an invitation to the party if you want that." Why should you do that? Why? I mean, this is an independent platform. We had someone. If we're gonna go invite maybe Alaji Kurang or somebody, it's not, or even Ismail Sise, if he was not appointed minister, we don't have to go through all that. So what is the protocol? I don't think there is any absolute protocol. If it says, I want to know it, where it's stated clearly that if we need to reach out to someone, a leader, we need to go through all these hoops to, for what? I think we have to simplify these things and kind of, get it out of the way. But I think a lot of things are getting, and we need to be very mindful, very, very mindful. 2026, we learn our lessons, And if these whole small squabbles and things get into a big way, at the end of the day, we all gonna lose. We have to be very careful. I think this was not an issue at all. It's not. Yeah, anyone can invite it's not a big deal. It's not. So this whole thing, accusation, counter accusation, and Gambians are notorious of that stuff. They are very notorious. They can make up stuff that they don't have any facts or evidence to it, and I take exception to that one. And we need to move away from that kind of stuff. I mean, collectively, if we work together for a common goal, and I think the common denominator here is the fact that we all can agree that our country is unsustainable on the current trajectory, whatever. So, but we need to move it up. But it will take resolve. It will take compromise. It will take open-mindedness, and it will take genuineness. Faramos, you talk about Ajera and all that stuff. You are passionate. Sometimes you and I argue here. We go back and forth on that. But at the end of the day, when I go in there, I take exception. I take it to my heart that you are very passionate. You care deeply about the plight of the country. And I've seen a lot of discussion, even about UDP, who needs to be, flag bearer and all that. People talk about because they care, not because they want to bring mix up. The fact is, people talk about it because they care, because they've really felt they might not be so, but they honestly came to a conclusion that UDP is the only party that can salvage Gambia. Talking about it and saying, we need to have a broader conversation, I don't think it's a bad idea. And you know what? I read this when I was in Saudi too, whereby they say we shouldn't be talking about flag. I think that's a mistake. I don't think you should censor people not to be talking about the parties. Right? What is a political party in the first place, right? A political party is dynamic. This is a political party should be the blood bath of the citizens, how they voice their, and at a greater aspect, political parties shape policies. They should be an alternate to the current government. They should be talking about issues, but also they should be the beacon and the torch of our democratic values, meaning freedom of expression. People can express and talk and share ideas. But if we wanted to kind of say, no, we can't talk about that, why? Obviously, there are issues. If we do a prognosis and talk about it, the reason why we reach out to where we are reaching at the point today and having this greater conversation, obviously things are not working out. And that is the first thing you have to acknowledge as a person, regardless of which party you're at. You have to come into terms and say, things didn't work out. How could we adjust and talk about things that is essential? Not telling people, oh, you have nothing to object, your objectivity doesn't matter. No, because as I said, the voters, the people who are gonna put someone ultimately at the top. You see, this is the problem. You read Sun Tzu's thing. This is the issue, and don't quote me on that. I'm not gonna. To be honest with you, I have no time to respond to your extreme views. I'm telling you right now, I do not have time for that kind of stuff. I mean, the more voice, the voice that you have in the plight of UDP, that's the same voice I have. So I am not paying no attention to that. If you feel like you have more thing to say, join us on any platform. I'll debate with you. Maybe this whole thing, you call blah blah. It's not. That's not the point. We are talking about a greater aspect. No matter what it is. I was in Saudi. I got phone calls and everything else, so I know exactly what's going on. It's exactly what's going on. Okay. So the fact that you want to brush aside, you want to kind of play this thing as known, and it is an issue. That's why people keep talking about it. And there's a discussion, and sometimes we have to be objective and speak the truth. The truth matters, right? We have to have these discussions. These discussions are essential because Musa, it's not gonna undermine anything, but it will strengthen the party and basically open doors for people who want to be part of the democratic process. And I think it's essential. We cannot put bandages on stuff. We can't. We need to have conversation, open dialogue. I think it's essential because if you want to be the government in the future, as I said, and we discussed this on this platform many times, we have to trend differently than the status quo. These are discussions that are essential, and we need to continue having it, right? So yes, I agree with that. I think it's a good idea, to kind of reset everything and continue, right? And talk about things that are important. And it's rather unfortunate. I think it would have been a great session that he comes around and we had a good conversation and share ideas and everything else. But this is more than what we're just saying. And I think the fact that this whole coalition talk gets into the way and people went their way and say, oh, these two events it would be important to unravel. Because for me, I'm not part of any coalition talks. I'm not interested in none of that stuff. And this is not about that at all. At all. This was essentially for the people, by the people, wanted to have a good conversation, inviting someone who is a future leader. I mean, he did a great job. He's on his second term, a shining star. Yes. We want him to come up and talk to people. And that's okay. That's okay. I don't see any issues with that stuff.
I just wanted to quickly just respond to some of the comments that I'm seeing. One has to do with apps. I think Upson is talking about you guys don't capitulate, and then this is the mindset. It's not about that. It's a little bit much more complex than that. Because I mean, everything is supposed to be. I mean, it is really supposed to be something good, something big, something that a lot of people would come to. But instead, people are lying, misinformation is becoming destructive. It's not only about us. It's about the person that you are also reaching out to. And look, and this is politics. Let's not be naive. All right? So for us, the objective was not that. And to go to Sariang, what he's saying, Suntu, I am not saying it has anything to do with the UDP. You are absolutely right about that. And you said you don't care who we spend our money. I think you're right about that. But you know what the problem is? When you have the Suntu Dafes of this world that see it in that manner, and they go back and they lie with misinformation and deception, Suntu, that's what we are talking about. Not UDP as a party. That's not what we are talking about. Now, coming back to, I think Boy Fati said something about Ajera, July 4th, you is an independent platform. Let me make this straight. That is why, even our program, the July 4th starts on a Friday. The event was going to be on a Thursday. In other words, we are organizing a program that coincides with the July 4th. Ajera is not organizing it. Ajera wouldn't get involved in doing that. Okay? I mean, and the one that Ajera did, and let me make clarification. During the time of Jawara was out of politics. Everybody, the father of the nation is launching his book. Now, all of us, we were political. We wanted to exploit it too, to how to call it, to help to strengthen the opposition against Jammeh. That's just what it is. That's just what it was. And then the other one about Wa was when Wa formed his party as Ndam. He was in Washington. We exploited it. And even then, us, the political junkies, exploited it and bring Wa. It wasn't the organizers itself. So what For the People, by the People was basically doing with this has nothing to do with Ajera, all right? But it would obviously, they have a lot to gain out of it by bringing this other target group, politics like Molen Tahajo. So now, as for Sol Baji said something, man, I am biased. I don't know about what bias is. Man, I saw my hand. I told you going all the way back to the mayor's race, all the way back when he first ran, when he was nobody. I supported, when we invited all of them, they came on this program. After everything was said and done, man, I like Talib Bensouda. I liked him. I like the guy has capacity. I like the way he articulates issues. And he said, I just like the guy. What is wrong with that? There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Now, secondly, people say, well, this is about a UDP thing. You guys need to shut up. You don't tell us who a flag bearer is. I am a Gambian and I have a say. Any party for that matter. How I feel, what I feel about it, the candidate that I think is the best. You don't have to agree with me, but to tell me, shut up, Musa Jeng, don't put your mouth in that. I think it's wrong. And you know who else supports me? Alaji Usainu Dabo. He said that. I heard it. Stupid. He said every Gambian has a right to the United Democratic Party. And anyone who is telling them not to do that, you don't really know what you're talking about. And I think that is idiotic. And politically, it doesn't make sense. You need my vote in order to be able to win. Get your emotions, your arrogance, and your temperament, like the Suntu Dafes of this world. Oh, you're not going to get it. We don't care for your vote. You're not going to win. You need my vote, my friend. I'm a Gambian. If the elections are going to be held, United Democratic Party is going to be one of the choices. So I have every right to have an opinion about the party. Now, ultimately, I am not going to be the one deciding who is going to be the flag bearer of the party. I saw Yunus Haidara. And you know what? In as much as I like everything that Yunus said, I disagree with some of the things that he said.
Yeah.
When he said that they would handpick, the parties would handpick Talib Bensouda and then Young's Dabo as his running mate, I think that's crazy. Yeah. You don't do that. I believe in a process. The United Democratic Party, they have rules that govern that party. And those rules should never be compromised. No one should be handpicked ceremoniously and say, you come and lead our party. I am absolutely against that. They have to have their process and let the process play out. When everything is said and done, now during that, obviously, before we get to that, people are going to have opinion and debates, both within the party and outside of the party. Now, if it influences the people that are going to make the selection, then well and good. Mota people like me, we would put our argument that this is the person that we think should be the flag bearer because of A, B, C, D, E, F. Because you don't know who we are going to convince when it comes to the selection committee sitting down and you kill and you nominate to come and be the leader of the party. So this whole nonsense, oh, if you don't like it, oh my God, if you don't like it, go form your own party. What kind of nonsense is that? How are you going to tell a leader who is in the party that, oh, this person is okay, if you don't like it, go form your own party? No, allow the process. Yunus was wrong. Yunus have the right to say that this is the person. I saw Dana Maketa saying the same thing. I saw Boubacar Sidike saying the same thing. There are other people saying that Ousseynou is the best. Fine, that is democracy. That is good. And you know what is good about it? That tells you that United Democratic Party is a vibrant party. There is a reason where there is talk, there is democracy, there is infighting. Show me any party that do not have that. I will show you a party that's not what the paper is written on. I swear to God. Because that party, there is no internal infighting. That tells you that there is nothing happening in that party. Show me a party that has that. The question is, how do you manage it? Or do you emotionally say, if I don't have it my way, I will burn the house? That's when it becomes negative. But if you allow, and it can get contentious, there's nothing wrong with that. Don't be afraid. But at the end of the day, it's the selection committee that will have their final say. And when everything is said and done, that's what matters. But to come here and lie and say who can be part of us, who can speak to, dude, you need people outside of the party in order to be able to win. Your leader, Alaji Ousseynou, said that. He has experience, he's smart. Why you need to open, all you go with is emotions. That's all you do. Temperamental. Go crazy. Suspicious of everybody's motivation. We all play the game. Come on now. It's just unfortunate.
And you know, Musa, I wanted to add a few things that this in response to what Suntu is saying. I think he said, Sariang, let me read this. He says, nobody put any bandage on it. There was no such press release. Who even talked about any press release from UDP?
Nobody.
I did not talk about that. I think, you know, here's the thing. This is a man who is so emotionally attached about any snippet that comes from anybody's mouth. And you know what? He doesn't own UDP. I will tell you this. I will continue to speak with objectivity, with independent mind. If you think that is go hit your head on the big boss in London, Suntu. I'm going to tell you this right now. I didn't even talk about no press release. This is what you do. You misconstrue, you misinform people who listen to you. So, and that's not true. I did not say anything about press release. And you are trying to mismatch these things. The segue comes with Talib canceling Talib's meeting during July 4th here. And the people who reach out to him saying that call, these two are totally independent of each other. And you coming out there, this is not, who said something about press release from UDP?
Nobody
I did not say that. I don't think I said anything about that.
No.
But here's the thing. Every single thing you want to misconstrue, you are emotionally charged. And sometimes, you know, you need to use your head than your heart. You can't be angry about every single thing. As I said, the rights that you have to speak on behalf of UDP, I have the same right to speak. And I look forward any day, if you want to debate about what is good and bad, we can have that on a different platform. But you need to knock off these things, you know, coming like charging everyone, counter charging. It doesn't worth it. At the end of the day, I honestly believe you want UDP to be in the government. And if you do want that, you have to be receptive and be tolerant as well. This involves a lot of work, collaboration, team effort. No one is saying, and Musa, I wanted to emphasize that point as well. You know, the write-up that came from Yunus side, no one is saying pick this person as a flag bearer. And I see someone saying these comments as well. You know, no one. I, for one, I'm not endorsing anyone's candidacy. But I think the process needs to be there. That's what a democracy needs to be about. Yes, you say, oh, okay, this is the guy, you know, Musa Van something. Nobody, you know, I think you guys are misconstruing. Anytime you talk about Talib or somebody felt that was saying endorse, you know, he needs to be flag bearer. I think we need to be very careful as a country and a party in particular, how to navigate through these things. It's very sensitive at the same time, but the process needs to play out. Yes. We cannot shut down the process. I think, Musa, what I need this process to go on. I think people need to speak about the flag bearer issue. We cannot be quiet. It's 2026. We are in 2024. So if you think about it, 2 years, it's not enough time with all the challenges that that country faces. The messaging, the strategy that needs to go in, sensitizing voters. We got a lot of issues in that country. It is. It's not only, and it's multifaceted. We got a rampant corruption. We got a government that is inefficient, cannot deliver on basic services that they are elected for. Every single time you hear things about, but we are all fixated about this little thing, minuscule of this about, oh, who you like or who you don't like. And you come in here, you wanted to give us some grief about some issues that is not even related. Back off, Suntu, man. Back off.
You know, he's always been a lightning rod, Suntu. And I mean, he thinks he knows my politics. I know his politics as well. And for Suma, my Toma, Musa, Sariang Musa, after hearing you, I respectfully disagree. Common sense suggests that given the demographic shift and momentum for a younger candidate, particularly Talib, he should be considered as And he said, I don't oppose Talib's candidates. I'm always suspicious of people that say that. But we must adhere to the protocols and procedures of the UDP. Who? Do we? What has the protocols of UDP has anything to do with us, Tom? Now, I don't know what you mean by that. That we should adhere to the protocols of the UDP. We don't have anything to do with that as far as the protocols of the UDP is concerned. I know at the end of the day, the party will decide who is going to be their flag bearer. But I don't have any control over that. All I have as a citizen is to basically air my views. And as an analyst and a pundit, that if we're looking at 2026, if we want to bring about change, Manlila Fokne will bring about the change. I could be wrong as hell, but at least I have every reason. There was a reason why I was called Minister of Coalition, going all the way back to when people gave up, even my own colleagues on this platform. I'm like, look, if we are able to forge an alliance with all parties, nobody left behind, Jammeh can be defeated. Fuma Dege, any platform, pandering, I will call in and I will make the argument. I've been called naive. The elections are going to be stolen. We need to do protests. Forget about that. What I believed in was that this is the strategy that can work. This is how elections can be won. And the argument was made again and again and again. Now, coming back to the people that are calling for coalition 2026 here in Atlanta, they called me. I told them exactly what I think. Man, I don't mince my words. I told them that what we did back in 2006, it was a different climate. That playbook, I don't think it will work this time around. I'm not saying coalition will not work, but that same playbook will not work. And I don't think it's a waste of our time. I think we should think outside the box. But just because Jammeh was defeated in 2016, Lolu minute ne, you should go back to that. We have a tendency to be very, what I would call, go for the easy. Here, what we had was a dictator who was killing people. All right? The situation we have now is different. So treat it for what it is. You want to bring about change? You want to change the players, the decision makers, the barrows, the seeding guys? There is a way. But I am not the one who believes that what we did in 2006 and 2016 can be used again to bring about the change. I disagree. What I am open to is to sit down on an exploratory and say, okay, we fought for this. These were the things that we fought for. We want a democracy. We want a term limit. We wanted a new constitution. Look, we were not fighting Jammeh just for the hell of it, to remove Jammeh and replace him with Adama Barrow. That was not the reason. There was a reason why we were fighting for change. So the change, at least we do not have it completely. So how do we get that? I think and all ideas should be heard. There should be brainstorming and saying, okay, how are we going to be able to do that? Man, that is the thing that I'm interested in. I'm not interested in sitting down and basically relitigating what we did in 2016. That somehow it's going to work. It's not going to work. And I told them that. Why, in a democratic country, people can say whatever they want. They can organize wherever they want to organize. And I will respect that. But to take two and conflate them, I think is outright dishonesty. You know what I mean? And that's not fair also. And if I can respond to this, the reason why we were stepping back, because it was basically, there is one thing to have an opinion about the United Democratic Party. It's another thing to say one of their candidates is really coming to a coalition talks. When coalition talks happen, you know how it goes? How does it happen? Back in 2006, moi, under Ajera, I wrote those freaking letters. And I'm not saying it to be arrogant. We send the letters directly to the party. Secretary General of the United Democratic Party. Am I lying? Ask Karamba Toure. Secretary General of NRP. Am I lying? Ask that guy passed away. Secretary General of the PPP. We send it directly to the parties. And also, we sent an invitation to the ambassador, Esa Bokasi, to be the keynote speaker because Ajera did not want to be seen as taking sides. And he was going to be the keynote speaker. So, man, what I'm saying, I know it. If we wanted to organize and invite parties to a coalition, we know exactly how to go about it. And I don't think, I mean, using platforms, I don't think they will organize anything like that. What we are doing is up and coming politicians, we will invite them virtually and we will invite them physically. Now, anyone now who goes out there, you don't know what you're talking about, or if it's sasai, if it's yaka, it's your motivation. I mean, that's on you. But we are not naive. I mean, we know what we are doing. We come here every Sunday, and we also did believe that if we have this interactive in Atlanta, it's going to bring a lot of people. Lulu. Everybody knows that. But now that Sai Yakakadi, they're out there, doing their number. I mean, some would say, yeah, we came in, we capitulated, they have their way. But this is bigger than that. It's also about the person, the candidate, the party. I respect the party, no matter what the Suntudafes think. I really do. I mean, and we are not going to do anything that will kind of yaha. That's not our intent. You can believe me all you want, but that is coming from my heart, and I really do believe that. We're still waiting for Dr. Cisse. He said he was going to come. It's 2 o'clock now. But 30, 45 minutes. So that's that. But guys, I mean, that's just what it is. Tukulor just said that. Yes, Tukulor, really. We're just trying to shout it. We're not giving up, but the timing also is important. And
Musa.
Yes, sir.
So I agree wholeheartedly, and today I agree with my own brother Del Alex, despite he doesn't return my calls, but today he's very, very objective, and I totally agree with his take on this whole
I haven't seen his comment
yet. Oh
yeah,
he's there commenting, but the thing is, Musa, I think this coalition, the people don't understand the fact that we're not intimidated, but I think if you are going to do something, you have to do it honestly, in a most transparent manner. The fact that this coalition talk get into the way and it coincide with the same time frame that Talib was going to come, I think we have to step back and look. And what happened prior to that, right? So some of the people who are saying they're going to organize this whole coalition talk went on a platform. They had a microphone and everything and take a dig, personally attack Hussein Udabo.
Exactly.
And I have to say that stuff.
Exactly.
And what did they do? They create more animosity. Because if you are going to say calling for people to dialogue, you're calling for a coalition. Your rhetoric needs to be measured. And you need to take a negotiation position. You're not going to get everything you want. But if you go out there for about an hour, misconstrue facts. I mean, did he misconstrue facts and facts? Personally attack Hussein Udabo, a leader of UDP. And you really think you're going to have more people to the table and negotiate with you? I mean, there was a lot of things that was said on Coffee Time that was not true. Usainu did not say, if I take somebody, what he said was 3 years versus 5 years. That was not meant for Halifa. We all know that. And all of us take issues with that stuff, with Usainu. But if you personalize stuff, the vengeance, the angriness, the tone and tenor of your conversation, and you personally, directly, solely attack a party leader, and you double down on your Facebook page and say, treacherous people, this is not going to be a party leader. Who are you? Who who that he's calling for a coalition, but you are sidelining people, you are creating political animosity, you are further polarizing this whole issue. And you really think people are going to respond to you? I mean, Gambia is bigger. I mean, the reason we are talking about here, the reason we take issues with the people of Sunduda, this is what we're talking. This is about teamwork. You cannot impose the way you see things happening. I'm taking a side and taking it personally attacking someone for about an hour. And if anyone wants to hear, you go back to coffee time. It's right there. About a week or so ago, you stand there and attack and attack and attack and say, oh, we're going to have a coalition talk, but Usainu Daba is not going to be part of this thing because he's a toxic person and just such a vengeance. We all grew, Musa. We are all like 50 years plus, man. We gotta get away from this angerness. And talking about UDP is a Mandinka party. That's not true, Joe Sambo. I will say it. And if he takes exception, let him come and debate with me. Mm-hmm. Let him come and debate with me. I don't realize it. But you know what? Enough is enough. We cannot continue to feel that we are the moral adjudicators. We can say anything. You are entitled to your opinion, but you're not entitled to your own facts. And I take exception to this because he said a lot of things. Tribalism. What is tribalism? We were talking about, UDP seats, Mandinka party. It's not. Yes, the person who is the leader of UDP today is a Mandinka. But so what, Joe? Mm-hmm. I mean, but the fact that the same person had issues. All his writings are anger, vengeance, going after people, personally attacking people, and I think it's very uncalled for. And that's one of the reasons, if people don't know, that was all other reasons why we had to cancel this meeting with Talib.
Absolutely.
We do not want to see as a toxic people who wanted to come in here and further divide and further polarize our political environment. I would say that is the main reason. I don't want to be part of that stuff.
Exactly.
We want to bring people. We wanted to bring people in the room with different political view to have a good conversation, to share ideas how we need to move Gambia forward. Not taking a swipe at a political party or to a political leader, being personal, attacking him, making up stuff that's not true. That's not the purpose of it. So that we got to move away from that. So this is a greater conversation, Mr. Sundu Dafe, if you don't know. And it's not something about the press release or press conference. This is and for people who don't know, that is the truth. That is just the truth. We don't want to see ourselves as people who are going to further polarize our political environment. That's not the goal of this whole conversation. The conversation was to strike a middle ground, to bring people together, to salvage our country from this brinksmanship that is out there. People, it's mediocre. They can't deliver. We have issues upon issues every single day. Ferry being out at sea cannot go from people are, paranoid and people think they are going to die out at sea. And you got these issues that we're so fixated on these little issues, personal and all that. That's not real, man. Let's move away from that. And that's the main reason that for the people, by the people, take exception, and we don't want to be further polarizing the political environment. That's it.
I'm glad you nailed it. You see, when within UDP there were people kind of saying we were biased or we're up to no good, we could deal with that noise. People even going out there doing a little bit of misinformation. We could deal with that noise. What we couldn't deal with was that very interview that you are talking about on Coffee Time. Because, and let me be very honest, that's when we get this. I receive a text because Talib listened to this interview and he was a little bit, you guys need to understand too, Talib doesn't know us. He has no idea, seriously. I mean, I met the guy. He doesn't really know me that well. All he knows is we're the one who reached out for an invitation. Now here he hears another guy who goes on Coffee Time, saying things that are so horrible. Anybody can go and have an interview. But for me, if you're telling me you want to have a coalition and you go and make an interview like that, then you definitely Who in his right mind would think that you can have a viable coalition in the Gambia that doesn't include the United Democratic Party? Who? You tell me. And then you think you're going to have results? I wasn't born yesterday. Trust me. And I've been in politics for a long time. It doesn't make sense. If we had acted like that in 2006, there was no way we could have brought them to the diaspora. You don't do that. You can have your opinion all you want. So when Talib said, who is this guy? And am I coming to something like that? You know, what I saw was a man who doesn't want to be used or lied to. You know, and I did not want to be part of that. I, honest to God, do not want to be part of that. There is any resemblance that what we are doing has anything to do with that. We cannot be part of that. Our credibility as a platform matters. So I reassured him, look, don't worry about it. We are not part of this. I spoke to Ibrahim Adiba. We could never be part of this. That's not what this invitation is about. But to make it, I think the fact that they're having it and it's the same city, Talib was even suggesting we have in another city. I'm like, but that's not, let's shelve it. We can have it another time. 2025 is 2026, whatever. Okay, but as far as the timing and what is going on right now, so just like you said, that is the final nail to the coffin. That is why we pulled the plug. Because we think what was said on that interview didn't need to be. Anybody can say whatever you want. You want to have a third rail? Whoa. Ask me. Wasn't I the one who proposed a third rail back in 2021? Sariang, you came to my defense. And you remember that whole insurgency? You telling me something that I don't know? And I know in 2021, a third rail even had a better chance. I believe in it. I really did. To scramble it because we were just coming out of Jammeh, you know, but anyway, that is for another day. But like you said, we cannot sit here and organize an event like that with everything that is swirling around it. Then we wouldn't be fair to the person that we are inviting. That's just how we see it. We came to the decision because of what this platform represents. Now you can be suspicious of me, and because I like Talib, I'm not going to shy away from that. I do. I'm a human being. Different people like different candidates within the United Democratic Party. I understand that. I really do.
I think Tukulor wants to come in, Musa.
What Dell is saying, I just said that. I said, if there is any party worth its salt, that's the kind of environment you want to be in. People vying for offices make it very contentious. It's the democratic process. That's what happens in the ANC. You know, so that shouldn't be anything out of the ordinary. Now, the question is, does the party has what it takes to manage it and come out of it together? I have said this here again and again and again.